Maya wiped the sweat from her forehead as she finished mopping the last office floor. The clock on the wall showed 9:30 p.m. Another 16-hour day was finally over. Her back ached, her feet hurt, but at least she had enough money to pay the electric bill this month. The 19-year-old grabbed her worn backpack and headed toward the elevator. Through the tall windows, she could see dark clouds gathering over downtown Seattle. The weather forecast had warned about a major storm coming, but Maya hoped it would hold off until she got home. Her home wasn't much, just a tiny studio apartment above Mrs. Chen's bakery. The old woman had been kind enough to rent it to Maya for half the normal price after her grandmother passed away last year. Maya worked at the bakery every morning starting at 5 a.m., then rushed to her cleaning job at the office building until late evening. It wasn't the life she had planned, but it was honest work. As Maya stepped outside, the first fat raindrops splattered on the sidewalk. She pulled her thin jacket tighter and started walking quickly toward the bus stop. She didn't have money for a car, and the bus was her only way to get around the city. The storm hit faster than anyone expected. By the time Maya reached her street, the wind was howling and rain was coming down in sheets. She ran the last block to the bakery, completely soaked by the time she reached the door. Just as she was about to go upstairs to her apartment, Maya heard a car engine sputtering nearby. She turned to see a black sedan parked under the broken streetlight. Steam was rising from under the hood, and she could make out two figures sitting inside. Maya hesitated for a moment. Her grandmother had always taught her to help others when she could, but living alone in the city had made her more cautious. Still, something about the situation didn't feel dangerous. Maybe it was the way the car looked expensive but helpless, or maybe it was just her natural instinct to care for people. She walked over and tapped on the driver's window. The man inside rolled it down, and Maya found herself looking at someone who seemed completely out of place in this neighborhood. He was probably in his early 40s, with tired eyes and a worried expression. His clothes looked expensive, the kind of suit Maya had only seen in magazines. "Are you okay?" Maya asked, raising her voice over the sound of the rain. "Our car broke down," the man said. He had a gentle voice, not at all threatening. "The engine just died, and with this storm..." He gestured helplessly at the rain pouring down around them. Maya noticed movement in the passenger seat and saw a young boy, maybe 8 or 9 years old. He looked scared and was pressed against the car door, trying to stay as far from the storm as possible. "Do you have somewhere to go?" Maya asked. "A hotel or family nearby?" The man shook his head. "We tried 3 hotels already. Everything's booked because of some convention in town. The tow truck company said they can't come out until the storm passes, which could be hours." Maya looked at the little boy again. He was shivering despite the car's heater, and his eyes were wide with worry. Something in her chest tightened. She thought about her warm, dry apartment upstairs. It wasn't much, but it was shelter. "Look," she said, making a decision that surprised even her. "I live right upstairs. You and your son can wait there until the storm passes or until you can get help." The man's eyes widened. "We couldn't possibly impose on you. We're complete strangers." "So was I once," Maya said, thinking of how Mrs. Chen had helped her when she had nowhere else to go. "Come on, you'll catch your death sitting out here." The man looked at his son, then back at Maya. "Are you sure? We don't want to be any trouble." "It's no trouble." "Really?" After a moment's hesitation, the man nodded. "Thank you. I'm David, and this is my son Lucas." "I'm Maya. Come on. Let's get you both inside before this gets any worse." David and Lucas grabbed a small overnight bag from the car and followed Maya to the side door of the bakery. She led them up the narrow stairs to her apartment, suddenly very aware of how small and simple it was compared to what these people were probably used to. Her studio apartment was basically one room with a tiny kitchenette and a bathroom that was barely bigger than a closet. The furniture was mismatched: a small bed, a table with 2 chairs, and an old armchair she'd found at a thrift store. But it was clean, and it was warm, and right now that was what mattered. "Please sit down," Maya said, gesturing to the armchair and the bed. "Let me get you some towels." She grabbed the 2 cleanest towels she had and handed them to David and Lucas. The little boy had been quiet since they came upstairs, staying close to his father and looking around the small space with curious eyes. "I'm sorry it's not much," Maya said, suddenly feeling embarrassed about her humble home. "It's perfect," David said, and something in his voice made Maya look at him more closely. He seemed genuinely grateful, not just polite. "You have no idea how much this means to us." Maya busied herself in the tiny kitchen. She didn't have much food, some instant noodles, a loaf of bread from the bakery, and a few apples. But she could at least make them something warm to drink. "I have hot chocolate," she called over. "Would Lucas like some?" The boy's face lit up for the first time since she'd met him. "Yes, please," he said in a small voice. As Maya heated water on her single electric burner, she listened to David talking quietly to his son. There was something sad in David's voice, something that made Maya think they'd been through difficult times recently. The power flickered once, then twice, then went out completely. The apartment was suddenly dark except for the glow from the streetlights outside. "Oh no," Maya said. "This happens sometimes during big storms. The power usually comes back in a few hours." She felt around in the dark until she found the flashlight and candles she kept for emergencies. Soon the small apartment was filled with warm, flickering light. "It's like camping," Lucas said, sounding more excited than scared now. Maya smiled. "Exactly like camping. Are you hungry? I was just about to make dinner." She ended up cooking the instant noodles on her small camping stove, another emergency supply that was proving useful. It wasn't fancy, but it was hot and filling. They sat around her small table, eating by candlelight and listening to the storm rage outside. "This is really kind of you," David said. "Most people wouldn't invite strangers into their home." "My grandmother always said that kindness doesn't cost anything, but it's worth everything," Maya replied. "Besides, everyone needs help sometimes." They ate. Maya found herself relaxing around her unexpected guests. David was polite and thoughtful, asking about her work and listening carefully to her answers. Lucas was shy but sweet, thanking her quietly for everything she did. The storm showed no signs of stopping. If anything, it seemed to be getting worse. Maya could hear the wind rattling the windows and the rain pounding on the roof above them. "It looks like you might be stuck here for a while," Maya said. "I hope that's okay." "More than okay," David said. "We're incredibly grateful." Maya looked at this strange man and his quiet son, sitting in her tiny apartment by candlelight, and wondered what had brought them to her door tonight. Whatever it was, she was glad she had listened to her grandmother's voice and opened her door to help them. Outside, the storm continued to rage, but inside Maya's small apartment, 3 strangers were slowly becoming something more like friends. The candles had burned down to small stubs when Maya noticed Lucas yawning. The little boy was trying hard to stay awake, but his eyelids kept drooping as he leaned against his father's arm. "You must be tired," Maya said gently. "It's been a long day for you both." David looked at his son with concern. "Lucas hasn't been sleeping well lately. New places make him nervous." "I understand," Maya said. She remembered how scary everything felt after her grandmother died, and she had to move to this apartment alone. "Lucas, would you like to see something special?" The boy nodded, suddenly more alert. Maya went to her small closet and pulled out an old wooden box. Inside were her grandmother's most treasured possessions: photo albums, letters, and a collection of handmade storybooks. "My grandmother made these for me when I was about your age," Maya said, sitting on the floor next to Lucas. "She drew all the pictures herself." She opened one of the books, and Lucas's eyes widened. The pages were filled with colorful drawings of dragons, princesses, and magical forests. The stories were written in her grandmother's careful handwriting. "This one is about a brave knight who was afraid of the dark," Maya said, beginning to read. "But he learned that sometimes the best adventures happen when you can't see what's coming next." As Maya read, she noticed David watching them carefully. There was something in his expression, surprise maybe, or relief. It was as if he hadn't seen his son this relaxed in a long time. Lucas moved closer to Maya as she turned the pages. "Your grandmother was a good artist," he said quietly. "She was," Maya agreed. She always said that stories help us feel less alone, especially during scary times. When the story ended, Lucas looked up at Maya with bright eyes. Do you have more? I have lots more, but maybe we should save them for tomorrow. It's getting pretty late. David cleared his throat. We should probably try to find somewhere else to stay. We've already imposed too much. Maya looked outside. The storm was still raging, and the power was still out throughout the neighborhood. Where would you go? Nothing's open, and it's not safe to be driving in this weather. We could sleep in the car, David suggested, though he didn't sound convinced. Absolutely not, Maya said firmly. You'll freeze. Besides, I have plenty of room. This wasn't exactly true. Her apartment was tiny, but Maya had already decided these two weren't going anywhere tonight. I can sleep on the floor, she continued. You and Lucas take the bed. No way, David protested. We're not taking your bed. Lucas and I can share the floor. Dad, I don't want to sleep on the floor, Lucas said in a small voice. He looked embarrassed for admitting it. Maya had an idea. What if we make it like a sleepover? I have extra blankets and pillows. We can make beds on the floor for all of us. It'll be like camping indoors. Lucas perked up. Really? Really. But first, you need to get ready for bed. Do you have pajamas in your bag? While Lucas changed in the bathroom, Maya pulled out every blanket and pillow she owned. It wasn't much, but she managed to create a cozy sleeping area on the floor next to her bed. David helped her arrange the blankets. This is incredibly kind of you, he said quietly. I can't remember the last time a stranger showed us this much generosity. You're not strangers anymore, Maya said simply. Besides, kindness isn't really about the person you're helping. It's about the person you choose to be. David paused in folding a blanket. That's a wise way to look at it. Did your grandmother teach you that too? Maya smiled. Actually, I think I learned it from experience. After she died, people helped me in ways I never expected. Mrs. Chen, who owns the bakery downstairs, let me rent this place for almost nothing. My boss at the cleaning company gave me extra shifts when I needed them. Complete strangers became the most important people in my life. When Lucas came out of the bathroom in his pajamas, Maya was struck by how young he looked. His dark hair was messy, and he was clutching a small stuffed elephant. That's a nice elephant, Maya said. What's his name? Peanut, Lucas said, hugging the toy closer. My mom gave him to me. Maya noticed David's expression change. There was pain there, quickly hidden, but unmistakable. Peanut looks like he's been on lots of adventures, Maya said carefully. He has. He goes everywhere with me now. Lucas climbed into the makeshift bed Maya had prepared. Is it okay if he sleeps here too? Of course. Peanut is welcome. As they settled down for the night, the storm outside seemed to calm slightly. The rain was still falling, but the violent wind had died down to a steady whistle. Maya? Lucas's voice came through the darkness. Yes? Why did you let us stay here? Dad says most people don't help strangers anymore. Maya thought about how to answer. I guess because everyone deserves to feel safe and cared for. And sometimes when you help someone else, it helps you too. How does it help you? Well, tonight I'm not alone. Sometimes this apartment gets pretty quiet, and it's nice to have company. This was true. Maya hadn't realized how lonely she'd been until she had people to talk to and take care of. Lucas, David's voice was gentle. Let Maya get some sleep. We've kept her up late enough. It's okay, Maya said. I don't mind talking. Dad doesn't sleep very well either, Lucas said matter-of-factly. He has bad dreams sometimes. Maya heard David take a sharp breath. Lucas. It's okay, Dad. Maya is nice. She won't think you're weird. In the darkness, Maya could feel the weight of some unspoken sadness. She didn't know what David and Lucas had been through, but it was clear they were both carrying heavy burdens. Bad dreams are hard, Maya said softly. I had them a lot after my grandmother died. Sometimes it helped to remember the good things about her before I went to sleep. What kind of good things? Lucas asked. Like how she always made pancakes on Sunday mornings, or how she knew exactly what to say when I had a bad day at school. or how she never got angry when I made mistakes, just helped me figure out how to do better next time. My mom made the best chocolate chip cookies, Lucas said quietly. She always let me lick the spoon. Maya felt her heart clench. Now she understood the sadness she'd sensed in both of them. She sounds like she was wonderful, Maya said. She was, David said, his voice thick with emotion. She was the best person I ever knew. They lay in comfortable silence for a while, listening to the rain. Maya was almost asleep when Lucas spoke again. Maya, will you read us another story tomorrow? If you want me to, she promised. I want you to, Lucas said. Dad, do you want to hear a story tomorrow too? David's voice was warm when he answered. I would love that, buddy. As Maya finally drifted off to sleep, she realized something had changed in her small apartment tonight. These weren't just strangers waiting out a storm anymore. They were people who had found each other exactly when they all needed it most. Outside, the storm was finally beginning to pass, but none of them were in any hurry for morning to come. Maya woke up to the smell of fresh coffee and something that definitely wasn't her usual breakfast of leftover bakery bread. She sat up, confused for a moment about why there were blankets on her floor and why her apartment smelled so good. Then she remembered. David and Lucas. She looked around and saw David standing in her tiny kitchen, somehow managing to cook something that smelled amazing on her single burner. Lucas was sitting at her small table drawing in a notebook. Good morning, David said with a smile. I hope you don't mind. I found some eggs and cheese in your fridge, and I thought I'd make breakfast as a small thank you. Maya rubbed her eyes. You didn't have to do that. What time is it? Almost 8. The storm passed around dawn, and the power came back on an hour ago. Maya felt a strange mix of relief and disappointment. Relief that they were safe, but disappointment that David and Lucas would probably be leaving soon. The tow truck should be here within the hour, David continued as if reading her thoughts. Our car should be running again by this afternoon. That's great, Maya said, trying to sound enthusiastic. Lucas looked up from his drawing. Maya, look what I made for you. He held up a picture of 3 stick figures standing in front of a small building. One had long dark hair like Maya's. One wore a suit like his father, and the smallest one was holding what looked like an elephant. That's us at your apartment, Lucas explained. I wanted to remember last night. Maya felt her chest tighten with emotion. It's beautiful, Lucas, thank you. David served breakfast. Somehow he'd turned her basic ingredients into fluffy scrambled eggs and perfectly toasted bread. Maya couldn't remember the last time someone had cooked for her. This is incredible, she said after taking a bite. Where did you learn to cook like this? David's expression grew distant. My wife taught me. She said everyone should know how to make a good breakfast. They ate in comfortable silence, but Maya could feel something changing. The easy warmth from the night before was being replaced by an awkward awareness that this was temporary. Soon they'd go back to their regular lives, and she'd probably never see them again. After breakfast, David made several phone calls while Maya got ready for work. She could hear him talking to someone about meetings and appointments, using words she didn't quite understand, but that sounded important. When the tow truck arrived, Maya walked outside with them to see their car. In daylight, she could see it. It was much more expensive than she'd realized. Sleek and black with leather seats that probably cost more than she made in a month. Thank you again, David said as the mechanic worked on the engine. I don't know how we can ever repay your kindness. You don't need to repay anything, Maya said. I'm just glad I could help. David pulled out his wallet, and Maya immediately stepped back. Please at least let me pay for the food and electricity, David said. Absolutely not, Maya said firmly. Kindness isn't something you pay for. David looked like he wanted to argue, but something in Maya's expression stopped him. Instead, he pulled out his phone. Can I at least get your number? I'd like to stay in touch if that's okay. Maya hesitated. She'd liked having them around, but she also knew they came from completely different worlds. Still, she gave him her number. Lucas wants to keep in touch too, David said. He's been asking if he can write you letters. Maya smiled. I'd love to get letters from Lucas. The mechanic got their car running and soon it was time for them to leave. Lucas hugged Maya tightly. Thank you for the stories, he whispered. And for letting Peanut sleep over. Anytime, Maya whispered back. As they drove away, Maya felt more alone than she had in months. She went upstairs to her apartment, which suddenly felt too quiet and too empty. 3 days later, she was surprised to get a text from David. Lucas has been asking about you. Would it be okay if he stopped by the bakery after school sometime? Maya was working her morning shift when Lucas appeared at the bakery counter. Mrs. Chen was behind the register, and she looked confused when the well-dressed little boy asked for Maya. Lucas, Maya said, coming out from the kitchen. What are you doing here? Dad said I could visit if I walked straight here from school and didn't talk to strangers, Lucas said proudly. And I brought you something. He handed her a small paper bag. Inside was a chocolate chip cookie that looked homemade. I made it myself, Lucas said. Well, Dad helped a little, but I did most of it. Maya took a bite. It was delicious, buttery and sweet with the perfect amount of chocolate chips. This is amazing, Lucas. Thank you. Dad taught me Mom's recipe, Lucas said quietly. I wanted to share it with you. Mrs. Chen was listening to their conversation with obvious curiosity. Maya introduced Lucas as a friend and asked if he could sit at one of the small tables while she finished her shift. Lucas became a regular visitor. Every few days he'd show up after school with his backpack and his homework. Maya would give him a snack from the bakery, and he'd sit at the corner table doing his schoolwork while she worked. Where's your father during all this? Mrs. Chen asked one afternoon after Lucas had left. He works a lot, Maya said, which was what Lucas had told her. Long hours. What she didn't mention was that she was starting to worry about how often Lucas was alone. He seemed to spend a lot of time by himself, walking to and from school, doing homework without help, eating dinner alone while his father worked late. Maya started staying after her bakery shift to help Lucas with his homework. She wasn't great at math, but she could help with reading and writing. More importantly, she could make sure he had someone to talk to. Strange things started happening around this time. Maya's landlady, Mrs. Chen, mentioned that someone had paid 3 months of Maya's rent in advance, anonymously. When Maya protested that she couldn't accept such a gift, Mrs. Chen just shrugged. The money is already in my account, she said. What am I supposed to do? Give it back to no one. Then Maya's ancient heater, which had been making concerning noises all winter, was mysteriously repaired. She came home from work to find a repair receipt on her door, paid in full by a grateful customer. I didn't call anyone, Maya told. The repair company when she called to ask about it. Someone called on your behalf, the receptionist said it was an emergency and needed to be fixed immediately. Payment was made over the phone. Maya was starting to feel uncomfortable. She called David that evening. David, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me. Of course. What is it? Are you paying for things for me? My rent, repairs, stuff like that? There was a long pause. Why would you think that? Because strange things keep happening. Good things, expensive things, and Lucas is the only new person in my life. Maya, please just tell me the truth. Another pause. I might have helped with a few things. Small things. You've done so much for Lucas, and I wanted to make sure you were taken care of. David, you can't do that. I told you, I don't want to be paid for kindness. It's not payment, David said quickly. It's gratitude. Lucas comes home from your bakery happier than I've seen him since his mother died. You're giving him something I can't. Stability, attention, someone who cares about his day. How can I not want to help you in return? Maya felt torn between anger and understanding. She didn't want to be anyone's charity case, but she could hear the genuine emotion in David's voice. No more surprises, she said finally. If you want to help with something, ask me first. I get to say no. Deal, David agreed. But even as Maya hung up the phone, she wondered what else David wasn't telling her. There was something about him. The way he talked, the expensive clothes, the fact that he could casually pay for major repairs, that didn't add up to just being grateful. Still, when Lucas showed up the next day with another homemade cookie and a bright smile, Maya found it hard to care about her suspicions. Whatever David's secrets were, his son clearly needed her, and if she was being honest with herself, she needed him too. Maya was walking to the bus stop after her cleaning shift when she saw the magazine. It was displayed in the front window of a small newsstand, and the face on the cover made her stop dead in her tracks. David. But not the David she knew. The single father who made breakfast in her tiny kitchen and worried about his son's homework. This David was wearing an expensive suit and standing in front of a massive glass building. The headline read, "David Harrison, Tech Billionaire of the Year, How He Built a Fortune While Raising His Son Alone." Maya's hands shook as she bought the magazine. She sat on the bus reading every word, her stomach sinking with each paragraph. David Harrison, CEO of Harrison Tech Industries. Net worth, $2.8 billion. One of the youngest billionaires in America. Recently widowed when his wife died in a car accident 2 years ago. The article talked about his companies, his charity work, his homes in 3 different cities. There were photos of him at fancy events, shaking hands with politicians and celebrities. This wasn't the man who had slept on her floor and thanked her for instant noodles. Maya felt like she couldn't breathe. Everything made sense now. The expensive car, the perfect clothes, the way he could casually pay for her rent and repairs without blinking, the way Lucas sometimes mentioned things that seemed too grown up for a kid his age. Even the way David talked sometimes like he was used to people listening to everything he said. She'd been played. That's what this was, wasn't it? Some rich man's idea of entertainment. Maybe he told his wealthy friends about the poor girl who'd let him sleep on her floor. Maybe he thought she was trying to get something from him, and this was all some kind of test. By the time Maya got home, she was furious. She paced around her tiny apartment, the apartment that probably cost less per month than David spent on lunch, trying to figure out what to say to him. Her phone rang. David's name appeared on the screen. "Maya, I was wondering if you'd like to have dinner tonight. Lucas has been asking." "I know who you are," Maya said, cutting him off. Silence. "I saw the magazine, David, or should I call you Mr. Harrison?" "Maya, let me explain." "Explain what?" "How you've been lying to me for weeks. How you let me feel sorry for you while you're worth billions of dollars. How you've been playing games with my life?" "It's not like that," David said, his voice strained. "Please, can we talk in person? I can come over right now." "Oh, I bet you can. You can do whatever you want, can't you? Must be nice to have that kind of power." "Maya, please." "No. I don't want to hear it, and I don't want to see you." Maya hung up and immediately turned off her phone. She threw the magazine across the room, watching David's face slide under her bed. For the rest of the evening, she replayed every conversation they'd had, looking for signs she'd missed. The way he'd known exactly how to handle her broken heater situation. How he never seemed worried about money even when he was supposedly stranded. The casual way he'd offered to pay for things like money meant nothing to him, because it didn't. To someone worth billions, her rent money was pocket change. Her entire yearly income was probably less than he spent on coffee. Maya barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she remembered Lucas's sweet smile, the way he'd hugged her, the stories they'd shared. Was that fake too? Was Lucas just part of his father's game? The next afternoon, Lucas showed up at the bakery as usual, but instead of his normal cheerful greeting, he looked confused and sad. "Maya, are you mad at me?" he asked in a small voice. Maya's heart broke a little. Whatever anger she felt toward David, Lucas was just a kid. But looking at him now, she could see things she'd missed before. His clothes were designer brands. His backpack probably cost more than she made in a week. Even his shoes looked expensive. "I'm not mad at you, Lucas," Maya said carefully. "But I can't help you with your homework anymore." "Why not? Did I do something wrong?" Mrs. Chen was watching from behind the counter, obviously sensing the tension, but not understanding it. You Didn't do anything wrong, Maya said. But things are different now. Because of my dad? Maya looked at Lucas more carefully. There was something in his expression. Not confusion, but understanding. He knew more than he was letting on. Lucas, did you know who your father really is this whole time? Lucas looked down at his shoes. I know he's rich. I know people act different around him when they find out. I know that's why he didn't tell you. He lied to me. He was scared, Lucas said quietly. After Mom died, everybody started being weird around us. People wanted things from Dad, or they acted fake nice to me because they wanted Dad to like them. But you weren't like that. You were just nice. Because you're a nice person. Maya felt tears starting in her eyes. Lucas, I can't. Please, don't be mad at him, Lucas said. He really likes you. He smiles more when he talks about you. He hasn't smiled much since Mom died. Before Maya could respond, the bakery door opened, and David walked in. He looked terrible, tired and worried and older than she'd ever seen him. Lucas, I told you to wait in the car, David said. I wanted to talk to Maya, Lucas said stubbornly. David looked at Maya. Can we please talk? Just for a few minutes? Maya glanced at Mrs. Chen, who was pretending to organize the display case but obviously listening to every word. Fine, Maya said. But not here. Outside. They walked to a small park across the street. Lucas ran ahead to the playground, giving them space to talk. I never meant to lie to you, David said as soon as they were alone. But you did lie every single day for weeks. I know. And I'm sorry. But Maya, you have to understand. When people find out who I am, everything changes. They start seeing dollar signs instead of a person. They want things from me. Or they act like they're afraid of me. Or they treat Lucas like he's some kind of prize to be won. So you decided to test me? See if the poor girl would try to trick you somehow? No, David said firmly. It was never a test. That first night, I was just a father with a broken-down car and a scared kid. You helped us because you're kind, not because you wanted anything from me. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt like someone saw me as just David, just a dad who needed help. Maya watched Lucas playing on the swings, his expensive clothes getting dirty as he played like any normal kid. The money you spent on my apartment, my heater, that was guilt, wasn't it? Rich man's guilt. No, David said. It was gratitude. Maya, Lucas comes home from seeing you happier than he's been since his mother died. You listen to him. You help him with homework. You make him feel normal. Do you know how precious that is? How can I not want to take care of someone who's taking care of my son? By lying to me every single day. David was quiet for a long moment. You're right. I should have told you the truth. I was selfish. I wanted to keep feeling normal for as long as possible. Maya felt exhausted. Part of her understood what David was saying, but the betrayal still hurt. I need time to think about this, she said finally. Of course. But Maya, please don't shut Lucas out. Whatever you decide about me, he doesn't deserve to lose you. You're the closest thing to family he's had since his mother died. Maya looked at Lucas again. He was watching them from the playground, probably trying to figure out if his two favorite people were going to keep being friends. I won't hurt Lucas, Maya said. But David, I don't know if I can trust you anymore. You made me feel stupid. You're not stupid. You're the smartest, kindest person I've ever met. And if I've ruined that by being a coward, then I'm the stupid one. Maya turned and walked away without saying goodbye. She had too much to think about, and seeing the pain in David's eyes was making it harder to stay angry. But as she walked home, she couldn't stop thinking about what Lucas had said. David hadn't smiled much since his wife died. And despite everything, Maya realized she didn't want him to stop smiling again. 3 months passed without a word from David. Maya threw herself into work, picking up extra shifts and trying to fill the quiet hours that used to be spent with Lucas. But the silence in her apartment felt different now, heavier somehow. Mrs. Chen noticed the change immediately. "Where's that little boy who used to come here?" she asked one morning as Maya, mechanically arranged pastries in the display case. He's not coming anymore, Maya said, not looking up. Did something happen between you and his father? Maya had never told Mrs. Chen the whole truth about David. We had a disagreement. Mrs. Chen studied Maya's face. Must have been some disagreement. You look like you lost your best friend. Maybe she had. Maya hadn't realized how much Lucas had meant to her until he was gone. She missed his homework questions, his excited stories about school, the way he'd light up when she gave him a cookie. She even missed the way he'd hug her goodbye, holding on just a little longer than necessary. But she missed David too, and that complicated everything. She missed their conversations, the way he'd listen carefully when she talked about her day, how he'd make her laugh with stories about Lucas's latest questions about the world. She missed feeling like she mattered to someone. The only contact she'd had from either of them was through Mrs. Chen. Every few weeks, a small envelope would arrive addressed to Maya's friend at the bakery. Inside would be a drawing from Lucas, pictures of the three of them or the bakery, or sometimes just a rainbow with, "I miss you," written in crayon. Maya kept every single one. One morning in late spring, Maya was running late for her cleaning job when Mrs. Chen called her over. "This came for you yesterday," she said, handing Maya an official-looking envelope. "Looks important." Maya opened it on the bus. Inside was a letter from the University of Washington. "Dear Maya Rodriguez," it began. "We are pleased to inform you that you have been selected for the Community Impact Scholarship. This full scholarship covers tuition, books, and living expenses for students who have demonstrated exceptional commitment to helping others in their community." Maya read the letter 3 times. She had never applied for this scholarship. She'd never even heard of it. There was a phone number at the bottom of the letter. Maya called it during her lunch break. "Community Impact Scholarship Foundation," a cheerful voice answered. "Hi. I received a letter about a scholarship, but I never applied for one. I think there might be a mistake. What's your name, dear?" "Maya Rodriguez." "Oh yes, Maya, no mistake at all. You were nominated by someone in the community. Let me see. It says here you were nominated for your work tutoring local children and your dedication to helping families in need." Maya's heart started beating faster. "Who nominated me?" "I'm sorry, the nomination was submitted anonymously, but whoever it was wrote a very detailed letter about your character and your dreams of studying social work. They also provided funding for the entire scholarship program." "Funding?" "Yes, dear. The Community Impact Scholarship is privately funded by a benefactor who wishes to remain anonymous. You're actually our first recipient." Maya ended the call feeling dizzy. She knew exactly who had done this. That evening, Maya sat in her apartment, staring at the acceptance letter. She could go back to school. She could study social work like she'd always dreamed. She could build a career helping people instead of just working to survive. But accepting felt like taking David's money, and she'd sworn she wouldn't do that. Her phone rang. Maya almost didn't answer when she saw David's name on the screen. "Maya, I know you probably don't want to talk to me, but I needed to call. If this is about the scholarship, it's not." "Well, not exactly. Maya, I'm calling because Lucas is in the hospital." Maya's stomach dropped. "What happened? Is he okay?" "He's fine now. He will be fine. But he had an anxiety attack at school. Today. A bad one. The doctor said he's been struggling with depression and anxiety since you stopped seeing him." Maya closed her eyes. "David, I'm not calling to make you feel guilty. That's not fair to you. But Maya, he's been asking for you every single day for 3 months. He draws pictures for you. He asked me to drive past the bakery hoping to see you. He saves jokes to tell you. You matter to him more than I think you realize." Maya felt tears starting. "I matter to you both more than you realize too. Then why won't you talk to me?" Maya was quiet for a long moment. "Because I don't know what's real anymore, David. When I was helping Lucas with homework, was that real? When we had dinner and talked about our days, was that real? Or was I just some charity project you felt sorry for? Maya, everything between us was real. The most real thing in my life since my wife died. But you still lied to me. Yes, I did. And I hate myself for it every single day. But Maya, I was terrified. Terrified that if you knew who I really was, you'd start seeing me differently. Terrified that you'd want something from me instead of just wanting me. Maya wiped her eyes. And what if I had wanted something from you? What if I'd been after your money from the beginning? Would that have been so terrible? David was quiet for a moment. Honestly? Yes. Because then it wouldn't have been about me or Lucas. It would have been about what I could buy or do for you. And Maya, I've had enough people in my life who only care about what I can give them. So you decided to lie instead. I decided to be selfish. I wanted to keep feeling normal, keep feeling like someone could care about me just because of who I am as a person. But I should have trusted you with the truth. Maya looked at the scholarship letter on her table. The scholarship? Was that your way of saying goodbye? No, David said firmly. That was my way of saying I believe in you. Maya, you have dreams, and you have the heart to achieve them. Whether you ever speak to me again or not, you deserve the chance to help people the way you've helped us. Maya was crying now. I don't know how to trust you again. I don't expect you to. But maybe we could try being friends? Real friends this time, with no secrets? Maya thought about Lucas in the hospital, scared and asking for her. She thought about the past 3 months of missing them both. She thought about the scholarship and the chance to build a real future. Can I see Lucas? She asked. He would love that more than anything in the world. Maya found them at the children's hospital downtown. Lucas was sitting up in bed, looking small in the hospital gown. But his face lit up like Christmas morning when he saw her. Maya, Dad, you didn't tell me she was coming? I wanted it to be a surprise, David said softly. Lucas threw his arms around Maya and held on tight. I missed you so much. I drew you pictures. Dad has them at home. Are you still mad at us? Maya looked at David over Lucas's head. He looked exhausted and worried, but hopeful too. I was never mad at you, Maya told Lucas. And I'm not mad at your dad anymore either. Does that mean we can be friends again? Maya smiled, feeling lighter than she had in months. I think we can be even better friends than before. Over the following weeks, Maya started school and David started being completely honest about his life. He told her about board meetings and business trips, about the pressure of running companies and the loneliness of having more money than he could ever spend. Maya told him about her classes and her dreams of opening a community center someday. Lucas got better, and Maya realized that helping him had helped her too. She'd found her purpose in caring for others, and David had found peace in being loved for who he was, not what he owned. 6 months later, David asked Maya if she'd consider running a new foundation he was starting, one focused on helping young people achieve their educational dreams. I can't think of anyone more qualified, he said. Maya looked at the job description. It was everything she'd ever wanted to do and more. Are you offering me this job because you care about me, or because you think I'm actually good at it? David smiled. Both, but mostly because you're the best person I know at seeing what people really need and figuring out how to help them get it. Maya accepted the job, not because David was a billionaire, but because it was the perfect way to use everything she'd learned about kindness, second chances, and the importance of seeing people for who they really are. Sometimes the best things in life really do start with a simple act of kindness on a stormy night.